Good afternoon. Welcome everyone to today's LinkedIn Live. Our topic today is how to expand your business with cross-border shipping to Mexico. My name is Brian Blalock. I'm the Director of Client Development here at BlueGrace Logistics, and I'm your host today. Our topic today is going to be led by a special guest, Jose Fernandez. Jose is the Vice President and Country Manager of Mexico. And Jose, I'm so happy to have you here with us today. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you for having me. My pleasure.
Absolutely. And, I know that the topic today is expanding your business with cross-border shipping to Mexico, but a lot of today's topics is going to be making an emphasis on nearshoring strategies. So we're just going to jump right into it. Jose, I know this is a big topic, but let's break it down into a couple of smaller slices. Now, with a lot of recent challenges that have put the spotlight on difficulties of shipping ocean freight, we know that there's challenges there. So let's talk about the value of nearshoring and moving at least some of that production to Mexico.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the many things that the pandemic taught us a few years ago is that every supply chain has to have some degree of flexibility or diversification built into it. We can no longer depend on only one region. We don't know when the next major event will take place that could disrupt supply chains again. So I believe that nearshoring to Mexico will be the best alternative for US-based companies, as there are many advantages to it. We can still take advantage of low labor costs. They can have significantly reduced transit times. They could have time zone alignment. They can have better overall communication and collaboration. People can go visit Mexico 1-2 days, go back to the US if needed very easily. They can have access to a very large pool of talent and a very skilled labor force in Mexico. They can have access to top-of-the-line infrastructure. There's very good trade conditions between the two countries. So I think that there's a lot of value that can come when companies consider Mexico as an option to add to their supply chain, of course.
Yeah, I agree. And we talked about this a little bit, Jose, as you and I were getting ready for today. But are there some particular things about a company that can tell if nearshoring is a good option for them?
Yeah, they could definitely. I would recommend looking at the different manufacturing clusters that have been built in Mexico. Different infrastructures, different talent pools, and to make the better decision as to when it comes to establishing and remapping the supply chain to incorporate Mexico into it. Absolutely.
And I know that there's a lot of different markets that already have some freight moving into Mexico, and we've got companies in the U.S. that are looking at not only the potential of nearshoring and the value that can bring, but looking at the potential of Mexico as a market. So I know that's not the biggest part of today's topic, but talk to us a little bit about Mexico as a market and manufacturing Mexico, shipping to Mexico, and even some of the product that might move U.S. to Mexico.
Yeah, of course. As you just said, nearshoring is one of the hot topics right now, but also considering Mexico as a market could make a lot of sense for US-based companies. After all, Mexico is one of the largest economies in the world. There's over 130 million people living in Mexico with very similar demands and needs when compared to the average US consumer. Also, we're talking about two countries that are neighbors, so a lot of the big brands and products that are US-based are well known already for to the Mexican consumer. So I think it would be a very natural step for companies to consider Mexico as an expansion target in their growth plans. Also, they could consider Mexico as a regional hub to then enter other countries that are located near Mexico, like countries in Central America or the Caribbean, where they can manufacture items and ship them from Mexico to those places instead of having to do so from the US, for example.
That makes a lot of sense. And I know that our topic today is nearshoring and cross-border shipping into Mexico, but one of the things that is always important in the supply chain is optimization, how to optimize your supply chain. Talk to us about the importance of optimization, particularly as it relates to the nearshoring strategy.
Yeah, of course, that is very important. every company is always looking at uh, finding more efficiencies in their supply chain, always looking at every step of the process, trying to find ways to become more productive, to reduce costs. And that also applies to when you're implementing a nearshoring strategy. Besides the advantages that we've already mentioned, I would like to highlight that the amount of flexibility that a nearshoring strategy adds to the supply chain planning process, for example. Uh, let's say that you need to ship a container from Asia or the Middle East. It could take 30, 40 plus days for that container to reach the US. That means that you need to place your purchase orders many months ahead. That also means that you need to forecast your demand even before that. So I think that that leaves room for error. If you were to ship from Mexico, you can run that whole forecasting exercise much closer to your deadlines without having to miss your deadlines, of course. You can revisit your data, you can make sure that you have the right information. You can even decide to ship a lower amount of items if that's what you would decide. And also, I mean, knowing that you can order more items and get those fairly quickly if you needed to add more. So it allows for a lot of adjustments and a lot of changes into your planning. And all of that translates into cost savings almost automatically. And from a technology point of view, of course, having the right transportation management system, the right track and trace tools, the right reporting portals like the ones that BlueGrace has to offer, you can have access to a very detailed visibility into your supply chain and also streamline your operations and processes much better.
You touched on some things, Jose, that I think get overlooked. It's great that we can save money in many cases with nearshoring and having more available product. But you're exactly right. In the modern economy, needing to be agile and flexible with purchase orders, with changes to product lines, it's kind of hard to do that when your product is sitting in the middle of the ocean with 10 or 20 days left of transit. So that doesn't mean that part of shipping and logistics goes away, but it certainly means, particularly for product lines that need to have more agility, more flexibility, the ability to make changes. A lot easier to do that when you have that type of control over the product. So, fantastic points on that line, things I hadn't even thought about before. So, I appreciate that. I know we talked a little bit about the role of customs, and I know that customs is always a tricky thing. You know, we can ship freight, but it can also sit for some period of time if things aren't handled right. Talk to us about the importance of customs in a cross-border or nearshoring strategy.
Yeah, no, excuse me. That part is critical. That part is very, very important. There's a lot of moving parts in a cross-border shipment, especially when compared to a domestic shipment. There's many vendors involved, many people involved. There, you have to meet a lot of criteria, a lot of regulations, certifications. There's a lot of paperwork being handled, a lot of information being shared. So definitely partner up with the right company that understands those processes, like the team that BlueGrace has put together in Guadalajara, Mexico, can absolutely help mitigate all those challenges.
I love it, and you know, I'm not saying that we're doing a commercial for BlueGrace here, but you know, I do know a guy, and if you need some help, Jose might be that guy. And you know, I joke, but we talk about partnerships and a successful strategy for nearshoring. Partnerships is such an important word. Partnering with the right carriers, partnering with the right customs officials, making sure that we know exactly what we're doing to get things accomplished. Talk to us a little bit more about the value of partnerships.
Yeah, no, that part is also very, very important. I mean, just working with the right provider, the right partner that understands the process, that has been there before, that has the right experience, that can speak both languages, that can understand um, both countries, both cultures, how things work in each country. Um, that can be all the difference in an operation, especially just having the people that can adapt to pretty much any circumstance, to any cross-border project, because they've been there before. They know how to streamline those operations. So that, and not only that, but also a partner that at the same time partners up with the right set of vendors, carriers, customs workers, to provide the best overall solution. So here at BlueGrace, we're definitely happy to assist and guide our customers throughout that entire process and make sure that every single detail is covered.
Good points. And I know that this is not a place in your business that you want to test out the untested partnerships, right? This is a place
Exactly.
you want to know the right border crossings. You want to know the right lanes. You want to know how to move freight successfully. It might look good on a map, but you've already executed it. You know where the issues come from. You know where to improve on those and how to make things successful. You know, it's choosing the right, the right warehousing on the other side of the border. So just all of those pieces, all that historical knowledge can't be underestimated in this. So great feedback on that. And I'm going to go kind of down not a different road, but a deeper in another road. Is innovation is a very popular buzzword in the modern supply chain. So let's talk about the potential role of cutting edge technologies like AI and blockchain in driving better cross-border operations. We know it already affects the entire supply chain, but I guess a little bit more specifically how it might affect cross-border shipping and a nearshoring strategy.
Yeah, of course. I mean, technology will always be a very important pillar in what we do. I mean, logistics as a whole, of course, that also includes cross-border. We'll always be looking at new innovations, new ways to improve and enhance our solutions for our customers. So the innovations that you have just mentioned, particularly AI, I think are going to have a tremendous impact in what we're going to see over the next few years. It's going to help us optimize transportation routes. That's going to save time and money. It's going to help us optimize inventory stock levels. It's going to help us automate document processing. That's going to be big for cross-border, by the way. It's going to also help us reduce safety risks, predict any disruptions, etc. Just to name a few examples of what we can anticipate. So yeah, it's going to be a pretty exciting couple of years to see what tools and instruments we're going to get a hold of so that we can continue to improve our solutions for our customers.
I love it. And I was going to make one of my typical bad jokes, Jose, and talk about how I was using AI today to duplicate myself so I could go play golf. But anyone who's ever seen me on the golf course knows that that's probably not true anyway. And I should probably send the AI out there. It might do a better job on that side. So listen, you gave us a lot of great information to kind of get the thought process started. There's work to be done. If this is the solution, there's things to be measured. Whether it's doing a center of gravity study and understanding where your origin point for some of the freight is to make sure we handle better final customer distribution. Understanding some of those pieces, technology has to be a part of that, and there has to be a first step. In a lot of cases, it's analyzing your supply chain better. But Jose, you've given us a lot of things to think about today, a lot of things to start recognizing whether this could fit into our business footprints or not. But do me a favor as we wrap this up and give the listeners a couple of things that can be good first steps to either investigating whether the strategy works for you or starting to implement the strategy, whichever might apply.
Yeah, I would recommend. First of all, I would like to thank you and thank everyone that has joined us today. Please feel free to submit questions via the chat here on the platform. We'll be happy to respond to those and answer any questions you may have regarding a potential cross-border strategy, what next steps you could follow, what our recommendations would be based on the different circumstances that your supply chain might entail. Also, please feel free to contact us at our BlueGrace LinkedIn site and also my own LinkedIn profile. It's available. Please reach out to me, ask any questions, and we'll be happy to assist.
Sounds good. Jose, thank you so much for leading the conversation today. To the audience, we know your time's valuable, and we appreciate so much that we ask you for a little bit of it every month or so we can talk about topics that we think are important to you. So please feel free to share with us things that you might want us to add for the future so that we can speak to things that matter to you. One of the things that is always important in any supply chain discussion, and we always try to finish with at least making this available to you. If you don't have a team that is currently able to calculate good decision points in logistics and look at the way your supply chain is working today and try to look for places to find improvements for efficiencies or whatever the case may be, feel free to reach out to Jose or myself. We'll connect you with our team here. It'll cost you nothing. It's a show of our appreciation for your attendance. We're happy to run a detailed supply chain analysis for you. So we thank you so much for being here. We'll see you next time. Jose, thank you so much, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you.